back to Guitar Vocalist. The channel is all about singing and playing guitar at the same time and just being a confident, self-reliant musician. So with that being said, if you're new here, you like what you see and hear, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to support what I'm doing so I can put out more content. Today we're going to be talking about vocal type. This is actually a request from a commenter, Mike, who asked me this earlier. And he said, could you do a video on vocal types and how to determine what your vocal type is. And that's what this video is about right now, but I also want to ask the question, does vocal type matter? Does it actually matter? So traditionally, you have for males tenor, baritone, and bass, and then for females you have contralto, mezzo-soprano, and soprano. And all of those absolutely matter if you're doing some kind of classical singing or bel canto or something like that. If you're singing in a choir or operatic singing or musical theater or something like that, all of these absolutely matter. However, if what you're interested in doing is just sort of singing pop songs or rock songs or something that's not really classical in any way, I would argue that it totally doesn't matter. And the reason for that is you hear a lot of singers that are baritones singing in what classically would be considered a female soprano range sometimes even. You know, like if you listen to Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden, he goes way up there. He goes into his head voice. He has such good control of his head voice and mixed voice that he's able to just sing in a range well beyond what his vocal type would be. He's actually a baritone, but how would you be able to tell? Same with Chris Cornell. It's actually really common to have a baritone with a traditional male voice because baritone is actually like the most common male voice. I'm a baritone. If you think about that, it actually can sort of limit you to say, well, okay, I'm actually a tenor, so I can only sing in this range, or I'm actually a bass, so I can only sing this low and I can't sing anywhere else. It's not about the notes that you can reach, it's actually about where you are most comfortable. So if you just take middle C, which on guitar can be played here on the 5th fret of the G string, why don't you just take a vowel that you're comfortable with? Most people are comfortable with middle C, and then just try and move it up and down and you can find out. Just doing the E vowel. I can quite comfortably sing that. So I'm pretty comfortable there. Now if I go down one octave from middle C, I could go to a C3. And I can just determine where am I most comfortable. I feel decently comfortable in both, but let's try some runs. So this is where I'm starting to enter sort of my call register. This is a D sharp. Right, so here I went all the way up to a G4, and actually that's pretty comfortable for me. If I try and go above a G4, it goes beyond my comfortable range. In classical singing, it's called tessitura. It goes beyond that. I can do it, I could sing higher, but as I go up higher, I could feel more strain, more need to do things like vowel modifications, more need to really focus on open throat, air, posture. Sometimes I strain more if I go up there. So it's something I really have to manage and think about in my singing. I can do it, and sometimes I can make it sound pretty good. Right, so I can do it. I went up to a C5 there, in chest voice, by the way, but it's beyond my comfortable range. If I was a tenor, it'd be easier for me to do that. A good example of a singer like this is Sebastian Bach from Skid Row. He can go up there pretty comfortably. For me, it's a certain amount of strain. I have to think about it a lot more. I have to do open throat technique, I have to do vowel modifications, things like that. And also right now in front of you it's pretty easy, but if I've been singing a whole song, going up to C5 is quite a challenge. I can do it here and there, but I have to think about it. I have to go into mixed voice and then head voice and pass it off over there. But in my full voice, my chest voice, I can't really do that all the time comfortably. Now let's try going lower from that C. That's a C4, by the way. Hey, hey. Now you're hearing me go down to hey, hey. There you're hearing me go down to a D3. And I can go down to an A. And now as I'm going down, it starts to be harder and harder for me to hit those bass notes. So and then I have to hand it off to vocal fry after that. Like I have to go down to vocal fry to be able to hit any notes below that. I think I've hit on a good day like an E2, but it's not comfortable for me at all to sing, and some of those are bass notes. So the same way that the tenor notes are not really comfortable for me to sing up there, the bass notes are not really comfortable for me to sing. So I'm a baritone, that's how I know that. So I encourage you to just go up and down the scale with your guitar or a piano or reference tones online. Just find a video that runs you through an entire scale and just tells you what note that's supposed to be. And then you could just look it up. So a typical baritone range goes from A2 to A4. Okay, so if I just try that right now in A2. So that was a full octave from A2 to A3. Hey, 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 hey. Pretty comfortable for me. Hey, hey, hey. And that's an A4. Up here. So from A2 to A4 is pretty comfortable for me. Before when I showed I said G4. Yeah, A4 is a little bit more dodgy. So I guess I'm kind of a baritone or a lower baritone. So that's how you can figure out my range, because A2 to A4 is a baritone range. But that doesn't mean I can't sing some bass notes or some tenor notes like I showed. If I was a tenor, then my voice would actually be better from C3 to C5, something like this. And all the way up to C5. Here I have between a C3 and a C4, and now I'm going to go from here to a C5. Now that is a lot of strain for me because it's not that comfortable. See, I'm like, woo, woo, I'm really going up there. I have to stop, prepare, take a deep breath, I have to do all this work to do that. So for a tenor, you can hear how that last note, while I'm hitting it, it's not very comfortable for me to hit. I can do it if I prepare, if I warm up, if I, think about a specific part in the song where I'll go into it maybe for a bit, but it's not my go-to range, right? It's beyond my range. And then for a bass, it's between E2 and E4. So that's all the way down here. Oh. It takes all my It's like so low, I'm just like really quiet, like I'm kind of hitting it, but it's like, it's not really there for me. You could tell I'm not a bass, right? It's not really there for me. Now if I go one octave higher, I haven't trained that, I don't sing that low ever, but I can kind of do it low, but it sounds like Mongolian throat singing or something. So it's not really usable for me. And then if I try and go here, this is within baritone range already, so it's comfortable. And if I go to an E4, it's easy. It's an easy belt for me because I'm a baritone. and I don't have to worry about having to hit like an A or a C or anything like that. So within the male vocal types, my vocal type is clearly falling into baritone, and I've trained it to be able to hit some tenor notes because singing higher is something that is typically more desirable in rock and pop music than singing lower. Although maybe sometime I should develop that, because this exercise has shown me that basically between bass and tenor, I actually fall more between baritone towards tenor than I do towards bass. Now the thing is, you also have mixtures of these. You also have bass baritones, you also have countertenors. You have all kinds of different ways to do it. So what I would suggest is don't focus on what is my vocal type so much. You could do this fun exercise to find out what is my comfortable range, but you shouldn't ever allow it to limit you, because you can learn to sing in any range with the right training. Range is more just about a guideline, a general idea of where you're most comfortable. And also everybody is different. It's just a rough guideline. So anyway, that's the best way I think to discover what your true voice type is. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if this video helped you. And until next time.